Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
How's everybody? A nice cool day in Texas, right? As my dad would always tell me when I'd get to complain about it being a little hot, 100 degrees or so, he'd say, Johnny, it's summertime in Texas. That was all he'd ever say about it. Keep working, in other words. Don't complain, keep going. Anyway, Washington County Commissioners Court is now in session Tuesday, July 21st, 2026, 9 a.m. And our invocation this morning, Commissioner Corn.
We have Mr. Williams with us from Mount Zion to lead us in the invocation.
Shall we pray? Eternal God, you are Father, and we're your children. Thank you for allowing us to come together in honor of your name. You know our hearts and our heart's desires, yet you said, ask and it shall be given. So we're asking that you would show favor on these beautiful people today, as well as others in various other places. We pray now that you would look on us, give us the wisdom, knowledge, understanding that we may be able to show your glory and your honor as we serve people. We pray now that you would forgive us of our misbehaviors. Thank you for loving us as your children. This we ask in Jesus' name with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of allegiance to the American flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, sir.
Presentation, item number 3, presentation by Jacob Hetzel regarding feral hog removal efforts in Washington County. Good morning. Mr. Hetzel, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Good morning.
Glad to have you with us.
So I'm Jacob Hetzel. I work for Texas Wildlife Services. So we're a cooperative agency between USDA Wildlife Services and between Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. Primarily do nuisance wildlife work. And so the Commissioners Court has been funding some feral swine work in the county for several years, and it just keeps going and going and going. It's a never-ending problem, and so I just brought some figures from the last calendar year of everything that was going on. Removed 578 feral swine in Washington County. The big thing that you have to look at is the damage estimates. So we have lots of rural development, and the biggest portion of that is damage to residential areas, so turf grass and landscaping. So last year, between what the landowners reported and what was verified by me, about $52,500 worth of landscape damage. Also still have a lot of agriculture as far as pasture damage, about $66,000 worth of damage to pastures. And then some other smaller things, damage to dams, dikes, like around ponds, holding water facilities. About $5,000 damage to some cemeteries. So several of the cemeteries in Washington County have been fenced out, but it's still an issue where feral hogs get into cemeteries and overturn headstones and root. And so anyway, so altogether about $132,000 worth of damage that was reported. And then since January of this year, the numbers, we'll keep going with the numbers. About $42,500 worth of damage has been reported. So about the same as far as to landscaping, about $14,500. about $14,000 worth of damage reported on pasture. Some damage lost on feed. So we have some feeder cattle operations in the county, and we have some producers that are supplemental feeding, and so that's also an issue with feral swine. And so far this year, we're around 420 feral swine that have been removed. So
Is that about
What's that?
on par for last year? Like
it's
this
about on
time
par, and it
last
goes
year?
up and down. So it depends on the season, and depends on the amount of rain, and they move around, and so.
Well, that's very close. I mean, 420 for
420,
6 months
yeah.
of this year, 578 for all of last year.
Well, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, maybe.
because
May exceed that. Yeah.
What that indicates to me, we're not putting a dent in the population.
No, sir, but what we're doing is
You're doing a good job where you
Yeah.
are going. I'm personal attest to that, so.
And so the way to look at it is not as an eradication, but as a damage management. So
Mitigation,
if someone calls me and says they have all these pigs and they did X amount of numbers of damage, and we remove pigs from that area, and then they don't have an issue for whatever period of time, well, then it's a success.
Sure.
It's not an overall, we eradicated them, but this cooperator called me and said, hey, I have X numbers of dollars of damage, and we removed some pigs, and then they don't have any more damage, then that's what we're looking for.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
Well, we thank you for your continued work throughout the county.
All right, thank y'all.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Thank you, Jake.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 4, discussion and possible action on the approval of pending Washington County Expo rental regulations contracts. This morning we have 4 of those. Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Calf Scramble, Washington County Fair Supporters Appreciation Social, Brenham Shrine Club's Summer Music Benefit. Entire grounds is for that event. Strategy Cattle Bull Sale. Just want to point out some of the dates. The Houston Livestock Show is November 26th. The Washington County Fair Supporters is August 26th. Brenham Shrine Club is June of 27, and the bull sale is in February of 27. So people are getting lined up, and we've had quite a few bookings already for the 27 year 27. So, any questions about this?
I make a motion to approve the Washington County Expo rental regulation contracts and give the judge permission to sign.
I second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 5, presentation regarding the proposed covered arena and its associated impacts, including findings from the 2024 Hunden study. Mr. Williams?
Good morning, Judge
Morning.
and Commissioners.
Good morning.
All right, so we're going to kind of go over 3 different sections: the market validation, the financial performance, and the economic impact, specifically for the arena as designed and scaled from Plan North. Commissioner Bullock kind of asked me to remind and walk through what we did in Hunden. So for the sake of this presentation, rather than going over all 136 slides, stripped it down to 20. So we will keep it brief but quick. All right, next slide, Ms. Carey. All right, so kind of as a reminder of the overall process, is we initially started with looking at the site as a whole, gathering all the input and working through the different pieces of truly master planning out the site and the adjacent properties that the county does own. Just to kind of remind some folks, we have the main site, and then we have 2 other additional sites that are utilized for parking during large events like the Washington County Fair. If we did not include them initially, it would not be appropriate to go over them. Anyway, so the first phase is what we're looking at right now, and what we seem to get the most talking about is a 3,000 seat, 150 stall equestrian focused complex. Then after that, the purpose of this is it kind of unlocks the ability to remodel. The current problem we're facing right now is we have one very versatile barn in Barn 3, where we do all of our equine, all of our cattle shows, like our Blend Egg Mech show. I'm going to kind of use the analogy of like bunk beds. The kids have grown up sharing bunk beds, but now they're kind of in the teen years, and it's time to separate brother and sister out so that they can each grow on their own is sort of the analogy I'm going to rock with here, is sort of the bunk beds. So we've grown up with what we have. It's time to expand within the limitations that we have. And that was really what Hunden looked at, is understanding the totality of the market, and then locally, what do we really want? Financially, what would that cost? And here's what we can actually do, and then here's the impacts of what we can accomplish. So on the next one, Ms. Curry. So kind of from concept, as a reminder, when we did this plan in 24, we looked at the industry, all the community feedback. What that study recommended was 5,000 seats, 300 stalls, and fully enclosed, and looked at the totality of the property, not just one individual improvement. It looked at the scaling of all. So what we're looking at right now for 2026, or if we build this arena, is 3,000 seats, 150 stalls, but within the designs allows opportunity for expansion and growth into the recommendations that were provided. And we're focused solely on the single open air and the stalls and the equestrian focus for this particular project. But again, it does open us up for more improvement. All right, so on the next one. Okay, so what Hunden pulled forth was the development trends and a lot of the local feedback. And this, I think, does a pretty decent job of kind of illustrating. One of the biggest issues we run into is the ability to mitigate weather. So having facilities that can mitigate that. In the horse world, you want to be able to get to everything relatively easily. The setup we have right now works really well for cattle, not so much for horses, because we do have more weather exposure on the equine front at that property than we do with the cattle. When we cast a pretty wide net, looked at different funding models throughout the study, naming rights are starting to become a really big thing in the rural sphere of the venue world, not just your big stadiums anymore. Rather than doing what I'd call a legacy name, so one big donation for life, the rural market is starting to follow the trend of one business making a donation over the course of 10 years in exchange, and then an optional renewal after that. Very simplified structure, but that's kind of what we're looking at. An equivalent for us is like Cadence Bank Arena outside of Tyler, or outside of Austin, excuse me, up north there. They signed a deal with Cadence Bank for $2.8 million for 10 years to help fund a series of improvements to their property after it was initially built. On the cattle side of the house, what we've noticed is, and what we've heard from local feedback along with different regional shows, is we need to increase our stalling capacity in terms of being able to provide tie racks. Right now we can do about 400 while working within the bounds of the equine and stacking everything. With moving them out, it allows us to grow to about that 800, 1,200 capacity.
So we would
across
reach
the
this.
properties. Yeah. So this is when I talk about kind of unlocking those opportunities, this is that.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, and it's the demands of the equine world and the demands of, the cattle show world has greatly changed. I mean, for anyone that shows cows, the cost of a starting calf is, when y'all were shown, was a far cry from what it is today. And with that increased pricing comes increased demands and increased requests. Same thing on the equine world. Every different sport, while very similar, that 3%, 5% of difference makes the world to all these folks. And it, $30,000, $40,000 a horse, they get a little picky. And with that, it gets real technical real quick. So on the next one, when we looked at the viability with Hunden, Carrie, can you hit the next? Thank you. All right, so in the livestock world, believe it or not, we do actually bring shows down in from Oklahoma and Louisiana. We do compete regionally really well. Our region is predominantly the Metroplex all the way up to Fort Worth, and then a little bit out to like Chickasha in Oklahoma. So we do look at other states and other breed associations. So it is not just Washington County, Austin County that we look at. We got to look at the whole of the state and some of our neighbors. Texas is home to 4 major breed associations. Of these 4, all of them have expressed interest in doing shows with us, but again, capacity limits. So on the next slide, and part of the reason we start on the equine front is the majority of who we're able to work with is all based here in Texas, and we've made some inroads with some of these folks as well. We currently hold in CHA, or the National Cutting Horse Association. We're on their Alamo circuit right now, and we do half a dozen plus shows with them a year, and they're always bursting at the seams with what they can have. But like what the cutting association needs and what a reined association needs is 5% difference, but it's a nuanced thing that one facility will be able to accommodate. But there is a stronger market for the equine industry here. Next. So when we really digged into the equine side of the house with Hunden and working with all of our partners, your average participant is going to go to about 4.3 events a year. This is pretty important because you don't want to cater to one particular discipline within your breed associations. You want to diversify to encapsulate on or to capture as much usage as you can. So you don't want to focus solely on, I know my cutters will hate me for saying this, but you don't want to solely focus on the cutting. You want to focus on your cutting, your reining, and your cow horse and your off-rail group, because each one is a little different, but at that 4-day average, the maths out. So what we're starting to see is 73% of users are starting to own or grow their horse population here across the state of Texas, which is good. The industry's thriving and growing. One of the big things is feed is always going up, it seems like, along with some increased breed. But what we did see is equine is really starting to become a gateway to agriculture for a lot of our city folks. So if we want to keep our agrarian roots, it's a good way to do it, continuing to support this as an industry as a whole. And if horses don't work out, then they can go show cows or vice versa. Next. All right, so when we look at primary use across the state, 35% is for recreation, 9% of horse use is for show or for professional. So a good way to think about the distinction between recreation and then show and professional is just because you're having a horse show does not necessarily mean that you're falling within that 9%. You can fall into that 35%. And that 35% represents over 750,000 horses here in the state of Texas, give or take some change, and so on and so forth. When we're looking at the equine industry, it is vast, and we're in a good spot for it. Next. So when we talk about our competitive visitation set and going back to the region, here's kind of who we stack up against locally. And I know y'all can't really see it, but way up north there is Dallas. There's a very thin collection of dots. But looking at all the different facilities within us, so to set aside our competitive advantage above these folks, because right now we stack up okay, but there is room for improvement, and that is along with a new facility. So on the next one, looking over time, we actually look at the dates and how far. This was some data that Hunden could give us. It's still relatively applicable today, even though it is a couple years old, is the distance traveled for a lot of our folks. So about 50% are coming from over 50 miles, or 30% are that 10 to 15, another 12 are 50 to 100, and then another 11% is 100 over. So we do generate quite a bit of hotel traffic, or at least according to our hoteliers that we talk to, because they always request to let us know when we have a big show going with those folks. So it allows us to know the trends. Along with it, usage by weather, and allows us to approximate weather mitigation and how we can adjust a facility, or what dates we know are going to be, or months are more subjective to weather when we look at the totality of the data. So on the next one, we ran a pro forma for just this building. So stripping out everything else. The nice thing about having a designated equine facility is it does open up 2 additional forms of revenue that we currently don't capture, as well as increasing our existing stall revenue. So the revenues it allows us to capture is shavings revenue, so selling the flakes and the shavings and yada 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 for my horse folks, as well as expanding our concession offerings that we're allowed to do. So in the first year, it should make about $101,000, give or take our ability to pre-sell the building. So once the building is approved, construction starts. we will start pre-selling to every single association and start booking before the building is even done and built, to get it up and rolling and get it filled and going as fast as humanly possible. So for these numbers, we base a bit on our experience and what we already have. I know 16,000 sounds like a lot for stall revenue, but we currently make 14,000 and some change off of our current stalling. So all the numbers are kind of based in experience and then ground-based data. What we do expect to see is what we call the year of stabilization. So right around year 3 or 4, you're going to see a lot of it escalate. Our revenue and expenses should escalate for a few years, then kind of level out, kind of around somewhere year 3 or 4. And we call that the year of stabilization, and that's important for the next slide. So for the projected economic, fiscal, and employment impact of this is kind of the meat and potatoes I think that a lot of folks are interested in, or at least I spend a lot of time interested in, is the economics of just the 3,000 seats. So this is separate from Hunden. This is not what they included. So we broke out, and it doesn't linearly scale because life does not work in a linear and nothing ever scales neatly. So we did have to take a couple of very conservative assumptions. We do this using RIMS, which is a regional input-output modeling system that's provided by the Bureau of Economic Analysis. It's a very interesting book if anyone ever wants to read it. But this is how the math maps out. So direct spending and indirect, the best way to think about this is kind of a ripple effect. The drop in the pond is the arena. That first kind of big ripple out is your direct spending, and then the subsequent ripples thereafter are your indirect and your induced spending. So at the stabilized year, which would be right around year 3 or 4, right, because that's when your data becomes the most consistent in your projections, is about 4.4 million indirect spending will be injected into the economy here with locally, and then another 1.5 kind of in indirect and induced. So about 5.9 million will be added annually at
I
that.
was just about to ask.
Yeah, so this is annually. This is not totality over the
Yeah,
lifespan.
I was
Yeah.
going to ask you that because I was wondering if that was over the lifespan
Mm-mm.
of the potential.
No.
No,
So
this is an
so
This
it-
is annual.
you could assume that a lifespan of a building is 20 to 30 years. So you'd multiply that by 20 or 30 to get the totality without any added improvements or any upgrades or anything else. So assuming total static, no change across the marketplace, that is what it would be over you'd multiply it out, right? In this, it would generate about 30 new part-time and full-time jobs. BEA does not provide a good multiplier for separating out to where you can know how many is truly part-time and how many is full-time. So we have to go off the economic assumptions that they provide us.
And these are not county jobs.
These are not
No.
county jobs. So to kind of explain, okay, so you bring in all these people need to go to eat, the restaurant gets busy, restaurant has to hire a waitress. Waitress is part-time, waitress is represented in that 30 number. Kind of the way to think about it, same thing with hotels, the busier the hotel, the more the cleaning staff, the more people. So that's kind of how that number is calculated. So these are not county jobs that are directly added. They're jobs that are added into the marketplace that are driven by the demand created from
Correct.
the original input, if that makes sense.
Harrison, can I stop you for just a second and
Sure.
ask a question? All of these statistics on what we can do as far as equine depend on the building of the arena. Once there's an arena to move all your equine in, that opens up barn 3 for cattle. So
Correct.
although we're focusing on equine here,
Yeah.
you're really going to get a double bang because you're going to be able, instead
Yeah.
of using one building now for both species,
Mhm.
you're going to have 2 separate buildings. So you're going to be able to increase both equine
Correct.
and cattle.
Correct.
So this potentially, this
this is
620,000
1,000.
revenue
revenue.
could potentially be double that if you were able to increase the cattle.
Potentially, and this is solely focusing on your equine impact,
Sure,
right? I don't have enough
sure.
data to totally calculate out the
Right.
cattle impact yet. That's gonna take more time. But for what I can do, this is about right
Right,
on the
and-
money. So this does break it all out. And then the cattle one, for cattle, it will come down to how quickly we can book that and fill that.
Sure.
We are in geographically a really good area. There is a lot of demand for it, so I would expect similar to do all the economics on that for cattle. But it is it is good bang for your buck, kind of a twofer.
Ms. Shawnee?
I'm probably gonna get to this.
Uh-huh.
Counties two, cities 220.
Yeah.
States 390.
Yeah. So okay. So those fall into the MSA, the Metropolitan Statistical Area, which is probably more. It's represented in hundreds of thousands. So when you're looking at the totality of tax revenue that this would generate annually, at the stabilized year, it would generate $620,000 across all three taxing entities. So the state would see $398,000 worth of new revenue added. The city of Brenham would see $220,000 of new revenue added. The county would only see about $2,000 of new revenue added. And that's because the county only collects about 0.5% within the city limits.
Talking about-
Yeah.
just didn't know what the
No.
solution-
You're talking about the sales.
Into,
Sales.
Sales tax.
A
Yeah.
percentage of the sales tax.
yeah, and then if theoretically, we could calculate out the hotel impact, but that would take me a lot more
That's a whole
time.
nother bag.
That's a whole other kettle of fish.
But while we're.
To get into. Yeah.
This facility is very adaptable to cattle shows as well, is it not?
Yeah, it could be used for
Just
both.
wanted to point that out. It's not only equestrian. No. Okay,
No.
just wanted
And
to
there's-
clarify it's a multi-use.
Yeah, and there's things
facility.
within the design of a building that you can do to maximize the flexibility of the space, right? So just because it has a dirt floor doesn't mean it can't have concrete underneath it. So in the event, that's an add-on we wanted to do, it increases the flexibility to do more things like trade shows or alternative events that don't want a dirt. But there are operational trade-offs of going between dirt and concrete that do have to be considered in the
And
spectrum
so I
of
think
things.
this is a good opportunity though too, for both you and Commissioner Corn, since you were, kind of more involved on that side of the project. Because obviously when the Hunden, prior to bringing on Plan North,
Mhm.
there were recommendations made, but obviously, a team got together, including Plan North, with everything that they found in the community, and made a different recommendation that they felt like was more appropriate for our community, because what was proposed was a, 5,000
5,000.
seat,
So-
300 stalls.
Yeah, so what
uh,
Hunden proposed
closed
is,
facility,
here is what is feasible within the marketplace, but what the marketplace says feasible does not always mean what your checkbook says is feasible.
Correct.
The marketplace says a Mercedes is feasible. I cannot afford a Mercedes,
Yeah.
so I buy a Ford. This is kind of the same thing, but when you go into the design, right, you can still design your facility to grow to
Right.
those additional market adaptations, right, knowing that eventually you will need to get there. And so you can phase out a building into individual steps, right? It doesn't have to be all at once. It just means, okay, maybe we can only afford this, and then in another few years, we can afford the next bit, right? And expand the growth, right? I think doing 150 versus 300 stalls, for example, is a smart move
step.
because that gives you more room to grow in.
Well, and
And it's
this,
a challenge to fill.
for the,
300.
for the group's information, the first sketches we saw were amazing. Big, beautiful, fancy things. And we said, we're Washington County, and we need this to come down. And so what we have now is a functional facility that if we build just what we need to get going, it has the ability to be added onto and upgraded as time passes. So yes, does the study say we need 300 stalls? Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna start with half of that. Just let's see if we can take care of half of that, sell it, promote it, move forward. So we really Washington County'd this arena. We took it to make it match who we are, because we don't need to be another Brazos County. We don't need to be another Belton, because we're not. We need to be who we are. And the drawings and the facilities are very much in line with who we think we can market to. Something that would be useful and great for the county fair, as well as something we can sell nationally. So it's been very scaled down yet functional and usable.
Scale to a good starting point.
It is a very good starting point.
Yeah. Any more questions on the economics of it? We good? Okay, next slide. All right, and just kind of a summary is why now the demand is all validated. The existing facility is already too small for all the shows and all the animals that we're housing. Especially on the equine side, we have a lot of bleed over. I mean, we've done shows where we have to partner with ranches to get all the horses stalled here. And then the whole neighborhood really benefits at that, you know, $620,000 of new tax revenue into the associated coffers that can be used to buy down property tax. And you know, this is just the start, right? It's kind of the first room to separate out the bunk beds, not the whole house. And that's kind of where we have to get to Washington, to use y'all's words, to Washington County. It is separate out the bunk beds, add on the room, and let the growth go from there. And that is pretty much it.
And Harrison, I know you have worked really hard with local folks who are involved in state and national organizations, both equine and cattle, as well as the Fair Association. And so this has been a big holistic effort, from moving dirt to designing buildings to the feasibility of using the facilities.
We've gotten input from the Fair Association, from all of our local user groups, from all the regional groups that we currently do business, along with some of our national partners as well. And then we've also, from like the operational standpoint, because that's where all of your expenses really come from, we've spent a lot of time comparing and communicating with all the other actually fairgrounds in the nation about what works really well for them, what doesn't work really well. Dirt is like one of the most important things in these facilities. I know it sounds stupid, but it is very, very true. People love their dirt, and it is to be taken extremely seriously. But yeah, we have spent an inordinate amount of time of understanding all the bits and pieces that go into this, and what is a frill versus a functionary necessity, and how to make it all jive.
And I really appreciate the fact that we've looked at this from a revenue generating lens, as well as just the county fair. I mean, the county fair is near and dear to my heart, and I want them to have great facilities. But in turn, if they can benefit from a facility that is generating revenue for the county and the businesses around us, that's huge.
Yeah, it will add, I think, a new element to the fair, and help the fair continue to grow. And then for the rest of our 11 months out of the year, it helps us continue to grow. So it's really a good win-win all around, I think.
Absolutely.
I
Thank you for all your hard work.
I may point out, people have tried to compare Brazos County's, it's not the Brazos Center, but I still call it the
Brazos,
Expo.
yeah.
Expo. And they seem to have the misconception that the arena, everything behind the convention center, basically, is air conditioned. It's not air conditioned at all. And they function very, very well. So I just want to kind of put that to rest, that we have no intention at this time of air conditioning this facility.
Most facilities, the only other public or even quasi-public air-conditioned arenas are in Belton and then Fort Worth. There's not really another comp to that. And
Yes.
And we don't
Commissioner
want to
Carr-
be Belton or Fort Worth, right?
As Commissioner Corn pointed out, this is a workable solution to our issues and problems, and it's affordable, and it has been carefully thought out, And thanks for bringing up those points that you made, Commissioner, and Commissioner Bully as well. So, you had a great presentation here, and I think it answers some questions for the public. But if anyone has questions other than this, don't hesitate to ask. So, Mr. Williams has done extensive work to make this a Washington County functioning type thing.
And we
So,
will be providing more information next week.
when we say Washington County, we don't mean a tiddlywinks building. This will be very proud, everybody in the county can be very proud of this facility.
Chad, did you have anything to add?
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
all right, thank you.
Y'all are welcome.
Item number 6, discuss and take action on the hire of a county jail transport deputy for the pay rate exceeding the 6% allowable amount in accordance with county policy. Good morning, Ms. Amber.
I'm not the sheriff, in case y'all were wondering. Good
Oh.
morning.
You didn't have a badge.
We can tell.
I don't want a badge.
Because you don't have a badge.
Chief
We can
is
tell.
here.
That's the first giveaway.
My cape is big enough, so. All right, yes, I do have Chief Bullard here with me this morning to represent this particular position. What we have here today is we are looking to move a patrol deputy from the sheriff's office patrol side over to jail transport side, which is county jail.
Right.
Technically, we are switching out of departments, so that's why I'm bringing this forward. You guys are aware that we've had some discrepancies in the past with pay rates and pay grade scales between a patrol deputy and a jail transport. So just trying to kind of go along with the flow and keep it the same. We are asking that the individual remains at $25.37. So it's currently what he's making. He's just going to transfer over to the county jail side at that same rate. It does remain under the 2 individuals that are currently placed there as transport deputies. They have significant amount of experience. So I just wanted to bring that to you guys, and y'all have any
This doesn't
questions?
create any compression issues, nothing like that. He's already addressed
Not
it.
that's already there.
Not that's already there.
Yes,
Correct.
yes, and as budget discussions have continued this year, you guys realize
We
that
know we
we
have
are
to-
intending to
So
fix
it's a lateral
that.
move salary-wise.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. I mean, and actually, to be completely transparent, he's actually losing all of his overtime making this switch, but he is getting a better quality of life. So
Okay.
that's kind of the loss there.
Mr.
to
Bullard, do
him.
you have anything to add? Okay. By the way, anybody doesn't know Mr. Bullard,
Chief Bullard.
Chief Bullard, he's a little high, he can't hide very well. A large man. So,
We're very thankful.
okay, Commissioners, y'all have any other questions? Or-
No. I motion to approve the hire of county jail transport deputy for the pay rate exceeding the 6% allowable amount in accordance with county policy per HR Director Amber Scalco.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, discuss and recognize Washington County retirees and employees celebrating notable years of service for the second quarter. Ms. Scalco?
Okay, Court, I'm asking for this item to be tabled until
Okay.
next week. I took a couple days off, and everything has been disrupted. So everything that we created
That's
was
okay.
packed into boxes and shoved into a storage area. So I need to move this until next week, and I will be excited to bring this back and honor those employees appropriately.
Well, good.
All right.
Thank y'all.
We need a
Thank you.
motion.
A motion to table agenda item 7.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8, discussion and possible action on approval of the official bond for Precinct 3 Reserve Deputy Justin Schiller. I don't see Brad. No.
Okay.
This is, he is adding him on as a reserve deputy constable, not sheriff.
Right.
So he needed to be bonded.
Bonded.
Right.
The same type of bond for the sheriff's office guys have, but this is for a
For
constable.
constable.
And this is a reserve deputy, non-paid, not compensated.
Non-paid.
Right.
I make a motion to approve the official bond for Precinct 3 Reserve Deputy Justin Schiller.
Second?
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, discussion and possible action regarding the purchase of 2 Ford Expedition Max 4x4 vehicles from Sames in the total amount of $119,564.50 through the TIPS Purchasing Cooperative Contract number 240902 with funding to be provided from the Tobacco Fund. Mr. Leonard.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning,
Good
Judge.
morning.
Morning.
We originally had this set up to get these 2 vehicles through Enterprise, through the lease agreement that we've used for some of the county vehicles. We were going with Chevrolet Suburbans initially. We wanted to try out that Z71 package for our special operations vehicles. But when we received these vehicles, they weren't exactly what we expected. We got to the upfit with them, and they just weren't going to work for the equipment we needed to upfit them with. So luckily, Enterprise was able to take those vehicles back without any payment. At that point, we decided to reevaluate to continue to lease these vehicles or whether it'd be more beneficial for the county just to purchase them outright. After looking at it, we decided it was going to cost the county more to lease, obviously, and we wouldn't get the equity of the vehicle, so we decided to be a smart decision for the county to purchase these vehicles. We looked at our tobacco fund balance to see if this could be purchased from there, and currently it sits at $660,996 and some change. This fund is a non-tax fund that was created in 1998 as a settlement, and funds are dispersed yearly to the county that we usually just keep on hand and invest so we can earn interest on that. We try not to touch them until we have something like this that we need to purchase with. So we're asking to use those funds to purchase these 2 vehicles.
This is showing that you got 3 different numbers.
Yes, these are the
Yep.
3 bids we got. Obviously, we'd like to keep the purchase locally, but due to it being over $100,000, we had to go with Sames due to them being a TIPS
The
contract.
TIPS contract, correct.
Any
Okay,
other
well,
questions?
I appreciate you, putting this on the agenda with the request to use non-tax dollars, so. I motion to approve the purchase of 2 Ford Expedition Max 4x4 vehicles from Sames in the total amount of $119,564.50 through the TIPS Purchasing Cooperative Contract number 240902 with funding to be provided from the Tobacco Fund.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. Mr. Leary, you got another one?
He's got
Yes,
another
Oh,
one. Yeah.
excuse me. I looked too far down. Item number 10, discussion and possible action regarding the purchase of 1 Ford Explorer Police Interceptor Utility, PIU, a all-wheel drive vehicle from Apple for $44,486 with funding to be provided from the Tobacco Fund.
Coincidentally, as we had wrapped this up to figure out the purchase of these 2 expeditions, we had a Squad Explorer that was struck by lightning and totaled. Luckily, no one was harmed, but we lost a useful vehicle. So, same idea as the expeditions. We looked at the lease agreement and whether it'd be better to purchase, and decided it'd be more beneficial to the county to purchase this vehicle through the same funds.
Well, that's why I giggled, because when I looked at this agenda item, I was like, the lightning strike
Yep,
vehicle.
exactly right. What are the odds?
All right, I motion to approve the purchase of 1 Ford Explorer Police Interceptor Utility PIU all-wheel drive vehicle from Apple for $44,486 with funding to be provided from the Tobacco Fund.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 11, discuss and take possible action regarding the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department's annual request to use county property east of the constable's headquarters located at 1405 East Bluebell Road for a chronic wasting disease check station and drop box during the 2026-2027 whitetail deer hunting season. Ms. Damron?
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners, for having me this morning, or allowing me on the agenda.
Absolutely.
So it seems like I was just here in July of last year making the same request.
Request, yeah.
It flies by, and within an election year, I'm sure it flew by for you guys as well. So I'm Stephanie Dameron with Texas Parks and Wildlife. I cover both Washington and Waller counties. This CWD drop box came about in 23. We had our first positive within the county. And then in 23-24, we established the check station, which sits just east of the constable's office, right there by Subway and in that empty parking lot. We generally set up after the fair so we don't interfere with parking that's available for that event. And then we take down the end of February once we're finished collecting. I say that, we're still collecting. And so what I gave to you, and I don't know if it's up there, I can get this to anyone that might want it. This past season statewide, we collected about 12,000 samples. Total, that includes your exotics. For whitetail, we were about 11,000. If we focus in on Washington County, we're pretty comparable for 24-25. You can see total, we had 164 samples collected this year. For Washington County, last year was 167, so we're right there. And that, what comprises that 164, we're looking at roadkill, anything else that might come in. Clinical are animals that there is something visibly wrong with that animal, and so we go either euthanize or whatever and collect that sample. We did not have any of those this year. And then hunter harvest, it's cool. There are a lot of hunters that travel back to Houston, and we find they are stopping at the check station to utilize that service that we're providing. So it's helpful. If you go to the second page, so statewide positives were about 1,400. Breeder facilities, so that's where they're breeding deer. We're at about 1,100. On the release sites, about 100. Free range, we're in a 159. We still have one facility in Washington County that is positive. That jumped to 51. Now, I say that none of those positives have come out of low fence, and I think that's very important to understand. We did see slight uptick in what would have been the mandatory 2-mile zone, which is the yellow circle. So there were some hunters that seemed a little more concerned, and they're just asking to have their deer tested at no charge to them. This last year was completely 100% voluntary. Like I said, the mandatory requirement was removed, as well as that 2-mile zone. And then the map on the bottom, you can see statewide distribution. You've got exotics and mule deer, as well as whitetail. And then for the county, you can see distribution. We spend a lot of time on the roadways, 290, 36, and 105. But you can see the pink dots reflect those samples, and then you can see them out and about throughout the county. So this year we are requesting the use of that location once again at 1405 East Bluebell Road, just east of the constable's location.
This is the same location
Yes,
that
sir.
you used the previous years, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Can you go back real quick?
Yes.
The part that it says as of 2025, 51 case detection in Washington County breeder facility, what does that mean?
So the facility that showed the first positive, we euthanized that herd, and with those euthanizations, 51 of those came back positive.
Wow.
Again,
That's
I
what
don't
that
want to
means.
alarm anyone. That's just within the facility.
Within that
That's not
facility.
low fence.
With that,
Correct.
Okay,
high fence breeder facility.
wow, okay. That's why I wanted to ask, because I didn't understand what that meant.
Yeah, that's not low
exactly
fence. That's
one location. That's the original.
Right,
the
the original
original,
one.
yes.
But with the
They haven't expanded. We've
euthanization,
not
they
had any
found a
other
lot more.
cases in the county then.
no, sir.
No other, okay.
Very good.
All right. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
I motion to approve the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department's annual request to use county property east of the Constable's headquarters located at 1405 East Bluebell Road for a chronic wasting disease check station and drop box during the 2026-2027 whitetail deer hunting season.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
That was a mouthful.
Yeah.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate
Thank
the
you.
way you put your report together today, and so that's a great service for the county and the hunters
Yeah.
in general? Just be,
Well, just
have
in
that
general,
facility,
yeah.
have that facility, have,
You know, any of the roadkill
Bless you.
allows us the opportunity to
Sure.
collect a lot of data. And so any hunters that bring deer in, it's great for us as well.
sure. Well, anyway, thank you. Item number 12, yep, stricken. Presentation of Washington County Extension Service Quarterly Impact Report. Adriana Williams, Prairie View Extension Agent, Ag, and Dr. Tina Henderson, Prairie View A&M Extension Agent.
Hi, Mary.
Good morning, Miss Mary. How are you today?
all doing today?
I
Judge,
see your smiling
commissioners.
face this morning.
I hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah.
As you know, we are fully staffed now. We have completely 6 agents, not necessarily in the office. We have 2 remote. So to make it easier on the courts, what we've done, we've decided to do 2 per quarter. Stephanie and I went the last time, so now we have Dr. Tina Henderson with CED, Community Economic Development, and Miss Adriana Williams with Ag and Natural Resources. Blank mind. But anyway, so we decided to break it up like that. So Stephanie and I went the last quarter, so now we have these 2 agents. They are remote, but they're still part of our office. So I present them to you.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you. Welcome.
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 Hello. Can you hear me? Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello. I'm Adriana Williams with Prairie View A&M University Extension. I'm serving as the Ag and Natural Resource Extension Agent for Washington County. And today I just wanted to sort of shine some light on some final plans that I've finally received for the upcoming months for a couple of educational workshops and programs that I have. And I would honestly, this whole room and you all, sorry, my nerves are so
That's
bad.
okay.
Jesus.
Don't be nervous.
Everyone in this room, you all represent a various walk of life. And so one thing that I really wanted to do today was to get sort of any comments, concerns, feedback, pushback, whatever it may be on anything that I finally got some finalized plans on. And officially yesterday, I received the finalized plans on a tree adoption and tree planting demonstration at the Nancy Carroll Roberts Memorial Library. And so I will be partnering with Trees for Texas, and what we'll do is we'll have a little over 50 fruit and shade trees to give away to the people that are interested to come to the demonstration and to learn a little bit about trees and why they're important to, put back into the ecosystem and community.
And when is that going to be?
That will be December 5th, because as you know, our climate is incredibly too hot.
Yes.
But in December, it will still be hot enough.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
So we will
Good time of year to
definitely.
plant trees.
We've had
We will do
75
that from
degrees
9
this
to
month.
11 at the library. It will be outside. I will be sending out more official flyers because finally got the word yesterday. And so I am very excited on that. And I would love for, the community to be involved and to also give us any comments for the next one. I would love to implement another one if everyone doesn't have the opportunity to come or get a tree. I would definitely love that. And also on to the bigger one that I wanted to speak on. Yesterday I met with Soil and Water Board. I met with Ms. Celeste and Ben Garcia of NRCS about a water initiative campaign. So of course, I reside in Waller, and we're growing rapidly, and so there's a lot of talk about water resources. And obviously, we're serving in Washington County. There's been a lot of talk as well with the subdivisions that are growing, and I really do believe that it's important to speak on that and plant the seed on that environmental stewardship, especially when it comes to one of the most important resources of our life, which is water. Whether it's private wells, whether you have a creek running through your property, whether you're by a river, it doesn't matter. We still know how what our human impact can do on our resources that are available to us. Whether it's agricultural runoff, whether it's, you garden, you don't know how your fertilizer runoff can affect the nearby water bodies whatsoever. And so I will be gathering around anybody, including Miss Stephanie, just got the word yesterday. I didn't get a chance to send out emails, but, if you're interested, it is a team effort. It's a county-wide effort to ensure that, we are testing the water and we are educating not only ourselves, but residents, whether they're new, been here for the last 50, 60 years, it doesn't matter, about the change in our environment and how we are allocating resources to ensure that it's, something that all you have to do is just inquire. It doesn't matter whether you're there for the workshop, whatever, just, reach out and we will be there to help you to answer any questions and to help with whatever natural resources that, you have any questions about that you want to learn about, I promise you we're here and we're always happy to help. And so that will be coming in November.
The
What we'll
water
do-
initiative.
Yes,
Okay.
we will have a workshop, educational workshop. We'll invite multiple speakers to speak on the importance of water and why we need to monitor our water regularly and continue with testing. And then either that same day or the following week, we will have an open day to where you can drop off your samples from a certain allotted time, and we will handle the samples. We'll cover the cost of everything, and you can get your lab results back. And if you want an agent to come to your property or wherever to further, any further action that you may need, we're there to help, and we'll handle everything else for you. We just need your samples and we just need your participation. So rookie mistake. I did accidentally wash my business cards, so when I hand them out, they look a little crazy, but I promise y'all, I'm so sorry. I ironed them out last night. Yes, I was ironing them with a white t-shirt. So yeah, it was an effort. My fiance was like, "Girl, do I have to keep going?" Yes, you do. So I will be passing out business cards. Please, your comments, concerns, feedback, whatever. I would love it. I'm open to it, and I would love to share whatever else you need with any other agents in the county as well to fit your needs. So please.
Adriana, are you going to be focusing on water conservation as far as, unnecessary sprinklers and tanks and ponds and, don't leave the water hose running while you're washing your car in your driveway
We definitely can, depending on, whatever the community needs, whatever the county's concerns are regarding water conservation.
I think it's a great topic. I'm really glad that this is something
Me too.
that y'all are gonna take on. About a year ago, the court as a whole really started researching groundwater conservation districts. It's extremely dense information and very nuanced, but it's a very critical conversation that this community is going to have to continue to have as to whether or not, because currently the only tool that counties have to have any conservation mitigation efforts on the water is through a groundwater conservation district. So I don't know who to I'm gone at the end of the year, but whoever on this court's going to keep taking on that initiative,
We started the
need to
conversation,
keep it going.
formed a committee, and they've been meeting right now. They kind of haven't met regularly now, but they're still in place, so.
It's very fair to talk about water when it comes to, building subdivisions and, the infrastructure, the businesses and so forth. But I just got back from Europe where every water fountain, you touch it, wash your hands, whatever, you get a set amount of water. And that's it. I mean, they're conserving because they have to. They're overbuilt, right?
Yeah.
And we don't want to get to that, to lose that freedom. And when you flush your toilet, there's only a certain amount of water, and it's not going to flush.
Yeah.
It's not like ours where you can just let it fill and flush again real quickly. It takes a really long time. So, there's things like that with young children. Turn the
They just
water
leave the
off when
sink
you're brushing
running.
your teeth.
Yeah.
Don't do all these things. So the conservation side of it can also happen in our houses and
Yes, definitely.
in our restaurants and all those things too. So I love that y'all are taking that on because it's a global problem, and it's also in their house as well
Yes,
as
ma'am.
data centers and subdivisions too.
Water's the gold.
Definitely. And then one last quick thing, sorry.
Can I interrupt?
Yes,
You
yes.
said November, what day,
Yes.
what date in November, what place and time?
That's the things that we're still working out as I'm still trying to, gather up a committee to see what day we're all available, to be able to do this, and also a day that fits for everyone in the community. Oh, sorry. We do know it will most likely be on a Friday. I think that's the day where everybody's usually available to come for a workshop. Of course, we'll provide, refreshments and whatnot, so that way we're not taking too much of your time, your day, anything like that. So
Oh, good.
I will definitely send out flyers as soon as we
Yes,
get it finalized. And then on to Smart Precision Ag, just real quick, we are by August 15th, we're still taking applications, whether you have a half an acre up to 20 acres. of land, no matter what if your livestock are grazing, whether you're growing anything or you're planning to grow. We have an incentive program. We have grant money that we need to get rid of. So we are looking to pay producers, landowners, whatever, to allow us to test your soil and to adopt any NRCS programs or whatever you're already doing. If you're doing no-till, low-till, irrigation management, whether you're already watering your crops, whatever, water conservation efforts you have, that already fits within, whatever you're growing, we want to help you. So we want to give you the resources that you need to tend to your land and whatever else. So along with my business cards, if you're interested in the Smart Ag program as well, I will send you the information as well. So
Very good.
Thank
Thank you.
Well, thank you so
It was
much.
nice to meet you.
You did a good job. You weren't nervous.
Okay.
Good morning, Dr. Kempton.
Good morning, good morning. I'm so glad to be here. I was kind of roped in at the last moment to sit in for someone else, but I'm glad to take a spot. So, community and economic development, I have been quite busy. I'm not going to go over read the report, but I'm very much involved with doing the youth entrepreneurship program, kind of getting youth to think outside the box, right? What can you do, like outside of just doing there's nothing wrong with doing the 9 to 5, but just get their minds thinking and utilizing that way. So I've been working with the Boys and Girls Club as well as with Burnham Next students. So that's been very exciting and interesting. And as well, what has really transpired my understanding of youth, or just the potential of impacting our I'm having a brain freeze. Impacting our workforce, that's the word I'm looking for, especially starting young. So I've done a series of, a couple of times I've gone into the classroom to offer these virtual reality options. So they are able to, this is a program called Transfer VR, what's the other one?
Virtual reality.
Z-Space, thank you, Z-Space and Transfer, which offers students an opportunity to actually go in and see what it's like to be a doctor, see what it's like to be a carpenter, see what it's like to be by doing these things virtual reality. And so we had some really good feedback, and I did include that on that report of what it meant to students to actually have that hands-on experience. And we're hoping to do some more in the future. Not to belabor all of this, but a couple of things that are coming up that I want to share with you is we have a program called Pathfinder Youth. We're targeting those between the age of 16 and 24, those who are WIO qualified, which is the workforce, offering them a low voltage certification. We're also having, now that's projected sometime in September. There are some issues we're working out. We're also doing an employer meet and greet on August the 11th between 11 and 1 at the event center, wanting to engage with the employers to ask them what are their needs, right? So how can we, what do you need to fill these positions? Instead of going outside to other places, maybe hire the students here or hire the workforce, enhance the workforce here to fulfill those needs. That is the employer meet and greet. And then we have a CDL training that's scheduled, that is projected to start in the beginning of September.
That is much
Again,
needed, yes.
Yes, I've already have 3 people who are on the wait list.
Great.
Sure.
And this is a 4-week program. As we're doing it, we only take 4 students per training, 1 week in the classroom or theory, and next 3 weeks are is training. So we're in the process of solidifying a location for the driving part of it. So that's the 3-week part. Yeah.
And those folks will probably be hired as soon as they get that certificate.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And well-paid
It'll be
jobs
a
at that.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So again,
Thank you for doing that. That's
you're quite welcome.
big service.
Thank you so much for your
excited.
presentation.
Thank you, Dr.
And that
Henderson.
concludes my report.
I'm not actually reporting.
Okay.
I'm actually just here very quickly on behalf of Ms. Kalen. She couldn't be here today. But the Commissioners Court has always been so supportive of not only our office, but also our Washington County 4-H. So I was just here offering an official invitation that our annual 4-H Family Night and Awards Banquet is on Friday, August the 7th. So we just wanted to make that as an official invitation.
Will
if
y'all
y'all
send
can-
us something on that?
Carrie's gonna send us a
calendar. Oh, perfect.
I got Carrie.
Perfect.
Yep.
She's gonna send us the stuff
Thank
for
you.
December too.
Yeah, there we go. Well, thank you for that information. Is there any other reports from the extension? Okay. Item number 13, discussion and possible action regarding the approval of Washington County appointees to the Brazos Valley Council of Governments Homeland Security Advisory Board. This morning, our appointees, some of these are holdovers, some are new, but anyway, Jesus Montez, representing Washington County Sheriff's Office, Chief Mark Donovan, representing Brenham Fire Department, Taylor Leonard, Washington County EMS, Carl Wolf, who's going to be our new EMC, but we're appointing him to this committee for the end of 26 and all of 27. John Chancellor, Blenheim PD, Larry Nouveau, Citizen, Mark Pennybacher, Washington County COP, Stephen Eilert, Brenham PD, and Chad Desmukes, Washington County Precinct 3, representing the court. Any questions?
I motion to approve the Washington County appointees to the Brazos Valley Council of Governments Homeland Security Advisory Board as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 14, discussion and possible action on the approval of accounts payable. Ms. Kramer?
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, get to the end of that. Today, there will be payments totaling $937,843.88. That includes the payment for the Expo, some huge plumbing bill that we had that had to be done.
That's the generator,
The
actually.
generator, okay.
Yes.
Well, it's to plumbing, yeah,
Yep.
generator,
So
yes.
both of them are from the event center and the office annex down there, both getting new generators. That's what those two, $157,500 and $113,750.
Right.
Okay?
And then monthly bills, regular bills.
Yep.
Right, everything else is
Special. A
nothing.
motion to approve accounts payable.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 15.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.